Thanks very much for inviting me. I found this project completely fascinating, but I was also very flattered to see my name on one of the flyers listed as one of the adventurers, although I'm not sure that doing the Otter Trail once actually qualifies me. What I want to attempt in the next few minutes is to take you inside the mind of extreme adventurers and use that to try and understand the experience of coming home and of post-expedition blues. So this will really be a journey to the interior rather than to the exterior. To do this research, I had long discussions with 12 subjects. There were 7 men and 5 women. Each of them completed a personality assessment, and most of them also submitted to a neurometric analysis called a QEEG, which is a quantitative electroencephalogram. And that will form the basis of a larger study which we're planning at the moment on peak performance. But first, what do people actually experience when they come home after a major expedition? For some, it passes quite easily, but for others, they seem to go into quite a dark place and end up even needing medication or antidepressants or something like that. Typical kind of comments that you hear are things like, I didn't fit in anymore, or I became chronically irritable. After summiting one of the highest peaks in the world, I came home and people can't even get the traffic lights to work, or they can't even make a decent cappuccino. Others, like at times, I felt I just couldn't carry on. I felt detached and remote from my family, and excessive guilt towards them. I just started sleeping all day, and just general feelings of low energy and fatigue. The medical profession have a good word for that. They call it malaise. But in a way, post-exhibition blues is counterintuitive. I mean, you go through sheer hell. You lose a finger, you get stung by the notorious Australian stinging bush, which I believe you heard about last year. The pain is so intense that the only remedy is to apply mild hydrochloric acid, followed by leg wax, during which you pass out from the pain. Then you come home, and after a few days back under your fluffy duvet, you start to get depressed. It doesn't make sense. But what we're going to do now is to try and make sense of it. What you're going to see now is the personality assessment that we did. And the one, if you look at this, you can see there are a number of dimensions which are opposites, like trusting or vigilant, or serious or lively, impulsive or meticulous. Now, if you take a big enough sample and average it, you get all the gray dots in the center. But even though our sample was only 12 people, this is how they differed from the population as a whole. Now you're going to look at the red dots. You can see they're more imaginative, they're a lot more open to change, tend to be a lot more tense or restless, and also do a lot more self-sufficient than regulars. Clearly, it seems you have a kind of a gnawing feeling, a hunger for novelty, or for new experiences that need to be fed. You could call it an intolerance for the mundane, or it seems to compel you to action. And just for interest, this is a mini case study of one of the other subjects. He's someone who suffered quite badly from the blues. His profile follows the others, but is more intense. Make no mistake, this guy is really tough. But he also scored quite high on emotional reactivity. And if you look at the slide now, that's the QEEG data, and you can see there's some activity in the amygdala, which is the regulator of emotional experiences. I then contrasted the profiles of strong versus mild post-exhibition feelings. Those most susceptible to the blues tend to be more concrete thinkers rather than abstract. They display more emotional reactivity and apprehension, and are more self-sufficient, thus prone to withdrawing. So what can we do to minimize it? I think self-awareness is the key. Know what drives you in the first place. Do an assessment. Know how you're likely to react. Then you can be ready for it when it creeps up on you. Secondly, try to create a safe space for yourself when you come home, because the blues tend to kick in about 2 weeks after you get back. Don't plan anything big for that time. Make it your time. Be reflective. Try to keep a journal. And it's also quite important to remember that the feelings will pass. Adjustment takes time. Many of the subjects spoke about the relative simplicity of life out there against the clutter of the city. So it helps to write down your thoughts and feelings associated with the pictures. This will contain and manage your mood and help to validate your feelings. And then, of course, probably most important is don't stop dreaming. Start planning your next trip. After all, you are the Christopher Columbuses of the modern world. I know that as a group, you are pretty good at finding things that haven't been done before. The projects my subject spoke about were quite mind-boggling. To summarize, know yourself, be ready for it. Don't be taken by surprise. Create a safe space, write, journal, talk. Don't withdraw, get professional help if you need it, and plan the next one. But finally, just to try and deepen the conversation for a moment, I couldn't help feeling that there was a very special quality to the people that I spoke to. It's as if they evolve into a new way of being, a new spiritual awareness or connectedness. Going off on an adventure seems to be very good for the brain. There's a humility, a loss of ego, a calmness, an integration. Is it worth it to go out there and take a bit of pain on return? Absolutely.